Hello friends, this week we're starting on a Scenic drafting package, and in order to facilitate that, I've provided you with several resource files. One of them is a theater template, that's right here, and then I also have given you a few different visual references of ground plans from this specific design. The assignment will be to take this design and transfer it to this theater space, okay? So this is a show that I produced in several different venues, and each time I rearranged the scenery slightly in order to fit into the space that we were working in on those occasions, okay? You will notice I've also posted the show script, but you don't need to read the show in order to do this assignment. You just need to create this scenic idea in this space, okay? So the basic concept is we're talking about a tech startup in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco, and we need a certain number of tables and chairs and then a bookshelf situation with a coffee maker and a beanbag chair. Those are the main scenic elements that we're recreating. In most of the versions of this set, I also did a floor area, like a defined floor space. And then in some cases, I also did a back wall. So I'm gonna have you do a back wall and a defined floor space as scenic elements for this project. And then we'll use symbols and resources in the resource manager to create our furniture pieces. And we'll also pull in a symbol from the Google SketchUp warehouse. We'll take that into Vectorworks, turn it into a symbol that'll work on your ground plan. So that's sort of the long game. In the next chunk of videos, I'll also introduce using render textures so that you're able to get a quick rendering out of this assignment as well. These are the research images. So this is kind of the vibe I was working with as I was designing this show. A lot of like brick walls, either a carpet or a plywood floor like this would be great. And then this kind of, generic beanbag chair, tech startup, chairs, tables, desk situation, flexible seating and workspace situation was where I was going with this show. Let's go ahead and take a look at this template file that I have sent you, okay? So you will open it up and it will look like this for you. So this is the template for the MeX Theater, which is a space that I worked in Kentucky. The first thing I'll have you do is go ahead and save it. We got to get back to Vectorworks. Save it as this particular project, right? So I have a Vectorworks assignments folder, and I'm going to call this Bartenstein. I can spell my own name. Campo Maldito transfer, because that is this project name. Save. Okay, great. So now I've saved it. That way, if I need that template again, I still have it in my downloads, but this way we're working on that specific file. You can go ahead and turn off your light plot, which there isn't anything there, and your lighting positions. So you're just looking at the space, okay? I would stay here on the scenery layer for now. There is a PDF that's just an underlying drawing that I traced, but it gives you a sense of grid height in our section view. So that gives you the understanding that our total height of this space is only 15 feet to the grid, if I'm remembering correctly. 1410 to the grid, okay? So that may be valuable to you in considering your section view, how tall your wall would be or whatever. But we're gonna turn off that PDF for now because we're just working in a 3D model. You'll also notice when you hit Shift-C and you pop it up, it's currently in wireframe mode. If I switch into OpenGL, I've made this wall transparent, okay? So you can see right through it. What would be helpful for you when you get to the rendering phase of this will be to make all of these walls dark, and we'll look at how to do that so that you're able to get a more accurate rendering of the space. But for now, this is our 3D view of the space. If you turn back on the lighting positions, you'll see how the grid fits in, okay? let's go into top plan view. Okay. So the first things that I would do would be to define the floor space and create a very thin floor object to do that, and then add in a scenic wall. And you can do this however you want. I might, in this case, take the sort of slanted view that I used. I just closed that file. Good job, me. Open recent. Can I have UCSD? This sort of slanted, skewed, in a thrust situation version of the floor might be what I'd go with for this. So I would just, draw a rectangle. That is my floor, my defined floor space. Make it a normal size and not a random size, right? And then I would give it a little bit of a tilt in the room just for fun. I would then, in order to make it an object, especially for the purpose of rendering, I would just extrude it a little tiny bit, so like 1/2 inch. So now it's the thickness of like a plywood floor that would be going in. And that's how I would do that first scenic unit, right? Again, I'm on my scenery layer doing that. All right, so we have our floor. Now let's add in our flat or upstage wall, okay? So the way that we wanna access that is up here in the wall styles. You pick up your wall tool, and then you'll go to this pencil and wrench, wall tool preferences, and we're going to create a new wall style that is for these theater flats. So the first thing I'll do is convert that to unstyled, okay? Then I'm gonna come in here and do a new component, okay? And this will be theater flat. The cool thing about this, and this is something that I just learned this year from working with film people, is that this allows you to do a different line style for your left pen and your right pen on your wall. And it's actually very nice, especially in a film setting, to put a heavier line on the face of the wall that is showing on stage. So we're gonna do that with our right pen. Yes, we'll do our right pen as a heavier line and our left pen as a lighter line. And that will give us some clarity in terms of which side of the wall has the facing on it, okay? And then other than that, I'm giving it a 3-inch thickness. I'm gonna say, okay, the fill style is solid. That's great. Yo, I just wanted to jump back in and fix one thing that I said incorrectly just a moment ago. So I did all of that stuff, right, to give it the cool one side is heavier than the other, right? So we come in here and edit, and you can see I got a 35 side and a 0.05 side, and it's great. What I haven't done is clear the previous wall attributes. So right now, I want that to be solid, and then I want the overall wall attribute to have no given pen line, and that will mean that that component attribute becomes your pen line for this wall style, okay? Once we've done that, you can go back in and pick up where I left off, saving preferences as a wall style. Let's save this preference setting as a wall style, and we will call it a theater flat 3 inches, right? Because you never know, you might do a double-sided situation that would be 6 inches or something. Okay, so now I can come in with my wall tool in this theater flat 3 inches version, and I can draw it in on my plan. So now, what I'm gonna notice as soon as I pop it up into the 3D view is that this wall is 20 feet tall, and that's much taller than I need it to be. So I would do this as either an 8-foot or a 10-foot wall. I'm gonna just do an 8-foot wall. No, I'm gonna do a 10-foot wall. I lied. You can choose what makes more sense for your design, okay? So now I have a wall and a floor. Those will be my two main scenic elements, right? So when we come back and draft the show, we'll be drafting elevations for this wall and floor units. Additional things for you to think about are like masking, right? If you want to use masking curtains, you want to turn on this lighting positions to get a sense of where the grid is, right? Then make soft goods active as the layer you're drawing on for your masking, and come in and use the event design tools to pick up some curtains, right? So if I were masking this, I would probably throw some masking up along this pipe, right? And it's gonna give me all of these same settings. I know my grid height is more like 15 feet, So I'm gonna make that the height of this curtain, and I'll just kind of leave the rest of these settings the same. And it will now draw in this curtain for us, right? Which is of course a little bit not following the line of the set. And I may do the same thing over here, right? Just snapping to the various existing pipes, right? If you wanted to put a door in this wall, totally cool. You can definitely do that. You can also assume that people are entering outside of the space. But those would be my basic scenic elements. Then I could turn off those lighting positions and I would have those curtains in where I would want them, right? So then I just will tip up and kind of see if it's looking basically the way that I'm expecting it to, and it is, okay? So those are my first steps, basic scenic units. I'm then going to come back and talk you through using your resource manager and then pulling in symbols from other, pulling in objects, three-dimensional objects from other resources like the Google SketchUp warehouse and converting those into symbols in Vectorworks, which makes it into a plugin object. So that'll be our next video. Thanks so much, friends. Talk to you soon. Bye.